Hello and welcome. Today we've got Lewis Herms, and today we are going to be discussing child trafficking, the Queen Jubilee, and also George Carling of the English manipulation, the English language manipulation. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Lewis can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Lewis, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you and what have you been up to?
Wow, I've been awesome. Working my butt off. As you know, we got the Truth Tour that's coming up in a couple of weeks. It's looking fantastic. We can talk about that a bit. Just phenomenal. I mean, there's a lot of scary stuff going on. Of course, some of it's optics, some of it's real, but I truly do believe that we, the people, are taking back our sovereignty. And ultimately, that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. This is definitely what all this is really about. Now, why don't we go ahead and tell us what's going on with child trafficking, because you feel that there is things going on in America, especially maybe in Florida, where there's two cases and that we are all aware of that you would like to address, where it's basically happening with, something suspicious is going on. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah. So I think your listeners are probably familiar with the Megan Walsh case in Florida. And I believe that's in Indian River County. I could be wrong on this, but I do know about the case. And of course, she had her 5-year-old baby ripped from her. And it's ridiculous. And you've been doing a phenomenal job. Anybody who doesn't know, Megan Walsh is the daughter of John Walsh from, I believe it's America's Most Wanted. And I believe he used, in my opinion, Megan's brother. Who knows? Could have been a sacrifice for all I know. But let's just say he used Megan's brother in order to build a career under the guise of trying to catch criminals. There's a different story behind that Megan does a wonderful job at telling. But here's what's interesting. Within that same area, there's a person called Claire J. Walker. Now, that's her AKA. Her real name is Callie Shia Burgundy, and I probably pronounced it incorrectly. But she's been in jail, or was, for, I believe, over 40 days. Now, what was she doing? She was reporting child trafficking. She was fighting for her child, and she was telling the truth about the global human trafficking operations. And suddenly she's in solitary confinement. Where? Also Indian River County, right? She wasn't permitted to type or send messages, so on and so forth. Now, I thought I was the only one that kind of saw this connection, but I have to give credit. When I started to do research, there's a Telegram channel, very small Telegram channel called Infiltrated by Truth. And I don't know if they're connected to Megan or Claire, but I can tell you what, they're putting the two cases together, which I think they should, because Claire's case is all about, she came from, unfortunately, an SRA background. I know the platform you're on, so you have to fill in the S yourself and then say ritual abuse after that. And she came through this. This is what her story has been. And then she's been exposing it at a very, very high level. And of course, instead of her being taken care of, she's thrown in jail and threatened. And her kid goes missing. Her boy. So these are in the same county, and they're dealing with the same sheriff, the same people. And it looks like there's a corporation that's connected, which I will not say the name of yet because I need to do more investigation. There's a corporation connected to it also. But I just want to bring attention to Claire's case as well as Megan, because not many people are talking about Claire Walker. And this is a serious deal, and it's happening in one county. I would like to reach out personally to, if you believe Ron DeSantis is a good guy, I think you need to reach out to his office and see how he can get involved in at least checking this out. This is happening within his state. which is supposed to be the most sovereign state in the United States of America. It's happening within his state, but nothing's being done about it from a state level. This is all a county corruption, deep state operation that's still going on there. So I think it's super important that we bring attention to her. And, you know, I do that periodically on your show. And I love that the fact that you let me do that. We need to bring attention to some of these things that are just not out there. So Ron DeSantis, if somebody can get a hold of him, have him take a look at this, because there's something super corrupt going on there. And it's not cool. It's really, really bad.
It's very bad. You know, taking, you know, a 5-day-old baby away from, you know, its mother is torturous, you know, to the baby and to the mother. This is unacceptable, you know, and, you know, that police officer or that sheriff, when he said to Megan Walsh that he doesn't know what the situation is, and he's here and he cannot leave without the baby because this is a court order written by a judge. What I would have said to that sheriff was, well, I would rather you take that paper back to the judge and tell him you're not doing it and quit your job. Because, and that's what I would have said. And it's a disgrace that he can go forward with his job doing that. Now, you're saying that this is the same sheriff. Is that correct with what's happening with Claire's?
Yeah, I believe it's the same sheriff, the same county. And I've gotten indications it may even be the same judge signing off on this stuff. But again, as you know, I'm not going to give that information as fact until I prove it. I've not dug into that and found that to be true, but I have seen correlations of that same judge's name popping up.
Do you know the judge's name?
Both cases. I have it written.
It'll be good because we need to expose who's
signing. Yeah. I have it written down here. Let me see if I can grab it really, really quick. Thanks for asking.
No worries.
So here we go. All right. I have so many notes on these things, as you can imagine. Okay. Okay, the name that keeps popping up is Judge McGillen. Judge McGillen. That's the name that keeps popping up. So I don't know if there's a correlation there, but the more I read, that's the name that I'm seeing. So
okay,
if he's involved in both cases, I think that's super fishy also.
Well, Megan Walsh has told me through one of my assistants that she will be on my show very soon. She wants to come on to discuss this situation, and hopefully we can have her confirm the judge's name, because they need to be exposed. We don't know if, you know, their family or their friends or whoever is watching, they need to know exactly what they're signing, because this is unacceptable. We need to put them under the light where they are absolutely, you know, exposed.
Yeah. In fact, let me promote somebody's channel. I don't even know who this person is. I just saw this today. It's got a very small subscribership, but it seems like he or she's doing a great job at exposing this stuff. So the channel is Infiltrated by Truth, all one word, on Telegram. Infiltrated by Truth on Telegram. So I've not even read all the stuff on this page, but it's pretty good stuff. So I think we should all take a look at this and decide for ourselves, but at least we need to shed light on this. This is all I'm trying to do. I wish I had another day to really dig into this and give you great information, but at least I wanted to shine a light on this so we can all take a look, because whatever's going on there, it's not right.
Absolutely. Now, you wanted to discuss about the Queen Jubilee. But I think you wanted to ask me a
I
question.
actually, yeah, I want to ask you what you think about the Queen Jubilee.
You know what? I don't take questions. I only ask questions.
I got you now, though.
Well, what is it that you would like to ask me about that?
Well, what was your take on the events? Do you feel it was real, fake? Did you feel there's something good in there, or is it just all cabal? What are your thoughts?
I think that the Queen wasn't even at the parade where it happened. She wasn't even there. Okay, apparently, not even Prince Andrews was there. Apparently, Prince Andrews had the the illness, the sickness of the lockdowns. We won't say the word. And obviously, for me, that shines a light that he's in probably custody, and the whole 11 million taxpayers' money that was paid to bail him out was just a storyline for the public. But I think much more is going on behind the scenes. I think that the people were not really, they were celebrating the Jubilee, the public, there was fairs on the grounds, there was food, there was families together. But to be honest, I don't think they really cared about the Queen. I don't think they really even cared to even celebrate for the Queen. I think what they wanted was to use this as an opportunity to have a great time with their families and enjoy the bank holiday weekend, which national holiday was the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I think Saturday was a normal day, but the fact that we had a long 4-day weekend, that was an opportunity for them to enjoy the sunshine, to have barbecues, to be with their families. And then I don't think nobody really spoke of anything of the Queen. There was one lady that offered me a leaflet for a Jubilee, for the Jubilee. And I was amongst a few people that did not know me. And I just said, that, who wants to celebrate somebody that's bailed out pedophiles, and everyone started laughing. So it's like, nobody really cares, nobody really cares. But again, it was just an opportunity for everyone to have fun and enjoy the bank holiday. I think, people are not taking it so seriously. That's what I got from it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, well, I had a similar take from it myself. And then I saw that golden chariot go down the street, and it actually looked like a hologram or something in there. I don't know what the heck that was, but I thought it was very interesting when they did the helix and the DNA strip going up all in white and to the tree. That could be the tree of life. I know a lot of people want to look at it different, like it's the serpent and so on and so forth. She was wearing green. Green means go. I don't know. I'm really starting to believe more. See, I don't like to buy the narrative that this is all a movie. I think there's both elements. I really do think there's an actual war going on, and maybe not as kinetic as we know it, but I do think the white hats are definitely doing good work, and the deep state is in an absolute panic. That seems very, very obvious to me. Do I think they've already won? No. And ultimately, as you know, I believe it's we, the people, that are truly the plan. In fact, I just talked to your buddy, Alan Fountain, on the phone, and he says it's be the plan. And I would totally agree with that. We need to be the plan, because the reality is we can't wait for somebody on a white horse to come and save us. We need to do it ourselves. The good news, though, is I do think the top dogs are working in the background, taking care of stuff, because the deep state's in an absolute panic. So maybe there was some manipulation on the white hats there. I don't know. It's fun to watch, though.
Absolutely. Now, what is it about George Carlin and the manipulation of the English language, Lewis, that you would like to address today?
Wow, this is interesting. So I've watched George Carlin for, literally 30 some years, maybe even more, probably about 35 years. And he passed, I believe it was 2008. But George Carlin, back in the day, he was definitely a left winger, right? But he always had something that he was bringing to the table when it come to understanding the way the English language was manipulated and broken down. It seems like maybe in his last year or two, he started to figure out the deep state and he was attacking them wholeheartedly. I don't know if that's why he disappeared so quickly, but because he did have legitimate heart trouble. But I'm watching a documentary of his last night, and I'm watching the way he breaks down the English language, which is phenomenal. I mean, there's some other people that do it, like Mickey Klon does a great job at breaking down the English language and really deciphering what the message is. Our friend Tracy Jones does a phenomenal job at that also, and other people do as well. But he's a master at really explaining why words work the way they do and how they're very manipulative. Why that's interesting to me, because within the same documentary, they showed him singing a lullaby that we all know to his baby to put his baby to sleep. Mm-hmm. That lullaby is an absolute destructive cabal lullaby. So I'm going to show you in a second what that is. But why this is so important is it shows that even the people that have figured out and are masteries at figuring out the English language still get MK Ultra and sucked in to everyday things. So I was very good and adept at figuring out the deep state moves all the way up to the year 2000. But in 2001, I still got MK Ultra, and I have to be honest about that. And I got sucked into the whole narrative for a couple of years before I snapped out of it. That's how powerful is what they do is. So George Carlin understands the English language, understands the subtext, and understands the manipulation, but yet he sang this song to his baby. Rockabye baby on the treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all. I used to sing that song to my kids too back in the day. And now I think about it now because I'm more awake. I'm like, what the? We're talking about a baby falling to its death out of a tree, and that's a effing lullaby song. This is how
like a satanic child sacrifice.
It's song. A sacrificial song. Exactly right. They start it with that. Then in the middle, like everything else, they have all this wonderful, sweet lullaby, tender this, oh, my dear baby. And guess what they end it with? Down will come baby, cradle and all. So it's an absolutely sick song. I never even thought about it when I was singing it. And I'm sure George Carlin didn't think about it either. But the reason why I bring this attention is we need to make our awareness level as high as possible, because this is the type of stuff that goes on. Do not think it's an accident, right? We know what they do in music all the time. This is spell casting. It's just craziness, but it's permeated everything, right? So that's just an illustration of how deep it goes. Now I'm going to make a really weird correlation here to gas prices. Like, Rockabye baby, George Carlin, gas prices. How can that go along, right? Well, think about it. So the original origin of the word crude oil, everybody knows that gas is refined from crude oil, right? The word crude meant in raw or unprepared state. That's the original thing. Makes sense. But we've changed that meaning throughout time to mean rude, offensive, vulgar, and unpolished, right? That's not the original meaning of crude oil or crude. It's just raw in an unprepared state. And that would make sense, because if crude is raw, then you prepare it, then you get your refinement, right? So what's the antonym to crude? It's refined. That is the actual antonym to crude, right? So the reason, in my opinion, there's these little games are played everywhere is it, for example, if you call something offensive, vulgar, and unpolished, you really have to work on that to make it refined. And if you do that, it's going to take a lot of work. And what does that do? That justifies the crazy prices of gasoline, even from back in the day, because there's a huge difference between a barrel of oil and the gasoline prices by the time it comes out. It's astronomical difference. I think it's like a 200 times difference or some crazy number. My point is, so what happens is when you take words and you manipulate them like this, You can get away with this stuff. We can call it spell casting. We can call it whatever we want. It's pure manipulation. So, great example. The gas prices today do not correlate with the airline tickets. Well, historically, if you go back and you look at gas prices rise because jet fuel is also made from crude oil, airline tickets jump up virtually at the same angle. Hasn't been going on now. So this tells me it's a mass manipulation. It also traditionally, because the gas price manipulation was also an oil industry cabal thing. What would happen is they would announce an oil price increase immediately, even though it takes 3 to 6 months to refine it. Immediately, the gas prices would go up. Then there's a decrease in oil price. It would take a week to 2 to come down because that's their margins where they steal money from the public. Well, the airline tickets are not going up like this, and the gas prices and oil prices are kind of fluctuating differently. They're not running parallel to what historically for 100 years they have done. This means there's some huge manipulation. Maybe it's the white hats. Maybe they're just trying to wake everybody up. I don't know, but there's absolutely manipulation there. But we have to remember the term from fossil fuel was introduced by a cabal member, Rockefeller. So when Rockefeller introduced fossil fuel, he wanted to do that because he wanted to make it look like it was something that's not replenishable. Well, most people know if they study that fossil fuel or crude oil is actually comes from algae and plankton. And it's actually, believe it or not, the second most renewable source on this planet next to water. So it will, and it renews faster than you can use it. People don't know that. But why? It's all manipulation. Everything's manipulation. And that's all I'm trying to tie it together. Is absolutely everything we've seen probably for the last 50 years or more, maybe 100 years, is mind. It's a mind F. It's all a mind F. And it's on purpose. So why am I saying this? Because the good news is we can change it just by changing our mindset. Because these spellcasters have no power over us if we don't let them. Zero. We claim our sovereignty internally. We don't have to claim it. We don't have to be claimed by any government status. We are sovereign by nature, right? Now, in some countries, it's harder. I know in Australia, Canada, they're having a lot of troubles right now, but they can still claim their sovereignty internally. But we also have to claim it mentally. And this is very important. So when we see certain words or phrases or even signs and memes, we need to stop for a second and not just accept it. Even within the truth community, I'm seeing a lot of stuff coming through here and I'm like, whoa, put the brakes on that. Let me double check that. Oop, that's a lie, because they're going to put stuff out to make us look stupid also. So we have to be aware of that. But it's very, 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 very important that we understand that we gave the bad guys, we gave them our mind. Absolutely. We opted into this, and people do not believe that, and they don't want to understand that. They don't want to take accountability for that. But that is fact. We willingly handed our mind over to them.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. We are, definitely being manipulated, and we have to raise the awareness. And it's up to us to be the plan, like Alan Fountain has said. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to go back, Alan, to the first conversation we had about Megan Walsh, because I wanted to ask you if you do remember the sheriff's name as well, who is dealing with both cases.
I might have that also. Let me check here. My notes are all over the place, but let me see on this one.
And are you saying that it's the sheriff that was talking to Megan through the window?
No. I'm talking about the county sheriff, Eric Flowers.
Sheriff. What's his name?
Eric Flowers.
Eric Flowers.
Yeah, he's the county sheriff. I don't know about the individual sheriffs on the ground.
Okay, no worries. That's fine.
And I think the main sheriff's more important anyways, because he's overseeing everything.
Exactly. Well, Lewis Herms, thank you so much for that information and for your perspective today and your thoughts. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Two things. One is just remember, wherever your mind goes, your body's going to follow. So we need to take control of our mind, and then we can control everything. So it's super important that our sovereignty begins right here between our ears, and we need to remember that. And super duper important is we got the Truth Tour starting on June 24th, and it is an epic adventure. In fact, let me give you an idea. Just to some of the guests real quick, I'll run through them on this Truth Tour, which is a 20-day, 22-stop, 31-day trip through the United States. If anybody's watching and you don't think you can make it, don't worry. There's a way you can get an online, live, all 22 events, 92 hours of this stuff. You can still get online just by going to truthtour.net. So you're not going to miss out. But the value is incredible. We have Kathy O'Brien, Michael Jaco, Jason Q, Nick Albert, Ben Barlow, which is amazing if you know about state nationals, Laura Worley, Candy and Kield, Al Pasoni, Lance Shuttler, Dr. Jerry Rivera Duhenio, Wasim Saeed, Annetta Driscoll, Jack Lander, Mickey Klon, Brian Isley, Billy Falcone, Alan Fountain, and I'm got about probably 15 others that I'm talking to right now that we should get down this week. And I'm getting off with this right now, and I'm going on a phone with a gentleman named Ethan, who breaks down the Bible like I've never seen anybody do it. Pretty incredible stuff. So it's going to be a great tour. The idea for me is I'm going to create as much value as possible. I've actually had a conversation with every single presenter, and I said, this is not about selling anything. This is about value. So you're up there 15, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever your time is, and make sure you give value. And I'll give them an opportunity to sell books on the back end or present whatever product they have. But we need to give back to we the people. We need to touch base with we the people. And they're all very excited, and they agree completely. This is all about we the people. But what we're going to do is it's literally a mission in every place. So we're about 4 hours at every spot, except Las Vegas is going to be a whole day event. And that's where we culminate. And that one's on July 24th. So to give you an idea, I start off with a little bit of information, kind of like this conversation on all 22 stops. And then I bring up, and we also have a dedication, which I want to talk to you about, for anybody that's in the truth movement that has passed away in the last few years, or their friends or family members, right? I'm putting together a beautiful dedication of those. Like Scott McKay's father is going to be on there. The gentleman that you and I talked about that was exposing Libya, I want him on there. That's going to be a beautiful dedication at the beginning. We're going to have music. Billy Falcon and hopefully Ethan, after I talk to him, will be providing some music. I will then bring up the 8 speakers. And the goal is we're going to be teaching people how to go from where we are to claim our sovereignty. So we have truthers, medical experts, spiritualists, data geeks, MAGA types, even people that will teach you how to grow a garden in your living room if you needed to, because we need to take back our sovereignty. So these will be the tools. And I'll do a little red pill session on how we can red pill people, because we tend to blow people away and they never want to talk to us again. I'm going to teach you how to not do that and be successful. And then at the end of each session, we will have all the speakers come up, and it will be a panel, and we'll be able to do Q&A, because we owe it to we the people to not stand up on a podium like we're better than. We need to be right there, because we are just one small cog in this. I just happen to be on a video. Doesn't mean I'm any better, any worse than anybody else. I just happen to be running my mouth on a video. That's it, right? So I know Alan gets that, and I know a lot of people I talk to get that. So we're going to actually have a panel where there's a Q&A also. And then there's going to be a special unannounced guest that will jump in at every location. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well,
and I'm still trying to get you there.
Eventually, when everything is all done, all dropped, I would love to be there. It'll be an absolute pleasure. So Lewis, I will leave the link below. If you could send me over the link so that people can click on and book a ticket to attend this tour. Thank you so much. And we'll speak again very soon, and God bless.
Truthtour.net. Thank you. God bless, Nicholas.